What's up, guys? I'm your host, Ronaldo Mendoza. Yellow Sea Podcast, as you know already, we are the most diversified in business entrepreneurship podcast here in Quebec, and we do it in all languages if you need it. So my next guest, David Boots, a pro skater, entrepreneur, filmmaker. So the first thing you will see about this podcast, we talk about his documentary, Peace Park. Go check it out on YouTube. It talks a lot about the culture of Montreal. Next, you will discover he's a very passionate guy, and that's what led him to become who he is today in the entrepreneurship. And we talk about the business of pro skating and launching a business. Also, we talk about one of his ventures that he did here in Montreal. And lastly, we give you a big tip on how to launch a marketing, especially for his brand. So, guys, if you haven't done it already, you already know what I'm about to tell you. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can listen to us on Spotify too, so subscribe to it. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram because we're everywhere. And mainly, we want to give a big shout out to our main sponsor. And this time, I'm introducing this new one, Rosemont 3-year rum. We haven't tried it yet, but I know it's bomb because everything is bomb. So next time you go to La Sac and you're looking for something to drink, whether it's gin, vodka, rum, even eau d'agave, whiskey, if you can't find it, well, get Rosemont. Getting Rosemont is supporting us and supporting local businesses. Let's go. Go, Yellow Sea Podcast, and we got this for another podcast. We're in the 80s right now in our catalog of podcasts. And today, guys, I am introducing you David Boots, pro skater, entrepreneur. And this is the one, like a documentary producer. Let's call it like that. And we have something nice coming up for you. So we're getting into a whole different world that I haven't navigated yet. And that's what I like, meeting people from different backgrounds, different surroundings. And at the end of the day, I find that we all have like few things in common that connect us. And it's just even more beyond what we look and who we are. So that's why Yellow Sea Podcast, we are the most diversified. The most diversified.
It's the diversification that brought me here, right?
That's it. That's why you need to expand your mind. I think it's like the best gift that someone can give to themselves, to just be open-minded, expand, curiosity. I find like it's one like
tolerance. You need a lot of tolerance to be able to be open to other things too, though, because you might not like everything that you come across, right?
But exactly that. Yeah, the tolerance. That's true.
Tolerance and respect.
Respect. What else? Nonetheless,
to listen to this podcast, man, you just want to be listening for a good time, you know?
But that's the thing. That's what we're going for.
Knowledge is good.
That's what we're going for, a good time. Well, hey, David, thank you for coming. We made it happen.
To be here. Thanks for having me.
Really interesting. Just to introduce you, how we got to meet. A few episodes ago, I guess a month ago. Time flies, by the way. A month ago, we did the podcast at SNC Lavalin at Lavalab. Right. My guest was Azad, and I met David. He was part of our audience. I got to meet you and Mark. Shout out Mark. What's his last name again?
Mark Pounds.
Mark Pounds. Exactly. We got to meet. Really interesting because it was a Web3 conversation we're having over there. Metaverse. Was there anything related to Metaverse and Web3 that you had business going there, or you just got invited?
Well, I think you'd have to invite Mark on the show for that one. I mean, I accompanied Mark. He invited me to that podcast. It was great for me. It's an eye-opener. I learned a lot about, where Web3 and the metaverse is going. I already had a notion, so it was cool to be able to learn more about it. But it was definitely Mark who had a mission and brought me there. And
well, when I got to,
you'd be a good guy to bring on your podcast.
Definitely. Well, that's what I guess brought us here, because when I was talking to him at the end, what he was describing, I'm like, what is this witchery that you're doing? Because he's like very secretive. It's like, yeah, we got like impossible technology. And I'm like, what's impossible technology? It's technology that people think it's impossible. All right.
Yeah,
tell me more about it.
Talk about it though.
Yeah, no. So, all right. I'm not even going to say no more. That's not even about Mark. Sorry. So you'll have your own show eventually. Right now, we're going to talk about David Boots. And I got to actually as we talking now, I watched a documentary.
Nice.
It's fresh in my mind.
Did you like it?
I liked it.
Perfect.
I liked it. It opened up my eyes, guys. All right. Like I mentioned, David has the three things that I saw from my perspective. Well, you're a pro skater, you're an entrepreneur. I hold that to you. And at the same time, the documentary producer. Do you feel like a documentary producer?
Not really. I kind of see myself as a skateboarder. Can't really claim pro status anymore. I mean, I'm getting old, and the kids today, they're just so good. I just feel blessed to still have skateboarding in my life. I still get some love from some companies, and I got my own company now. I did make a documentary that gives me status as an artist, as a filmmaker, but I've only really made one real film.
Not yet.
You know, I make lots of small edits with everything that I do, but with my different brands. But I can just consider myself a skateboarder, and my art forms branch out from that.
Okay. Well, I'll give you my review of this documentary. Was released, I guess, in 2013. It's called the Peace Park.
Yeah, Peace Park.
Peace Park. That's one thing. All right. The first thing as I was watching it that came to my mind easily is that your documentary brought the most Montreal culture that I ever got, aside from living it, but from a different angle. Because it's something that we see so much. Like, it talks a lot about like the homeless, the bums, but there's...
I wouldn't use that word.
Well, okay, it was used in documentary. I'm just...
Homeless is good. Because I think when you use the word bum, you kind of like attach a bunch of, I don't know, characteristics that may not really be accurate. A lot of people who wind up homeless could just be in a bad situation. They might have mental health issues. We don't really know their stories. I think bums has a negative connotation to it, but I know what you're saying. I mean, it's a colloquialism. Yes. A lot of people use words.
Yeah.
But I just feel like because I'm in the position that I'm in, and because I've kind of become a voice for the park, when I hear things like that, I'm not trying to like call people out. I'm just trying to help, make the world a better place. Well,
that's what we need. We need more of that education.
Like, for example, sometimes people see people who are smoking crack. They call them crackheads. I call them people with problems of addiction.
People with problems of addiction.
Because that's pretty much what it is, right?
It is.
I don't know.
Or crackhead, man.
I'm a softie, I guess.
It's cool. You're given the definition. If an alien comes, hey, what's a crackhead? It's a person with a problem of addiction.
Yeah.
Of hard drugs. Illegal hard drugs.
So what did you like about the documentary?
All right. Well, the first thing is the culture. Well, you seem like you did a lot of research to describe why. Because, all right, Peace Park is in St. Lawrence and René Lévesque.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Peace Park it's a public park on Saint Laurent Boulevard between René Lévesque and St. Catherine Street. It's right in the heart of the historical red light district. The area has since been gentrified, and most of the seediness in Montreal has been shifted towards Parc Émilie Gamelin, which is also known as Berry Square, just at the door of the village. But Peace Park has a whole history, though, of seediness, corruption, and the documentary looks at social and urban problems and why they're in the park. And to understand why they're there, you have to really look at the historical context of the area. And so it gets into a lot of the decades of corruption, in the city, and vice and sin, why Montreal is Sin City, basically.
That's what I enjoyed about the documentary, is how you take us back as early as the 1920s, 30s to understand really why Montreal...
even further, man, 1880s.
1880s.
Yeah.
You went far, because... Yeah. All right, one thing, like you said, why Montreal became such of a, like you mentioned, Sin City, or just like a vibrant city, is because Prohibition became started in the U.S., and a lot of people from there, from the States, fled to Montreal to have a drink, and from there it created the bars, the brothel, the whole environment, the scenery, the nightlife, the red light district. And that's why I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Because I know you could tell, like, from what's left, there was a scene like that that's very vibrant and a lot of lights. But You don't know why. Like, was it trendy back then, and there's a thing we do, but there's a story behind it. And that's what aligned me to see really that context of you took it really back into Montreal, and also like the how like the sector developed from even from the 50s to
yeah, it's a really comprehensive documentary, and
so
at the end of the day, it leaves you with more questions than answers, because there are really no it's just life. Life is full of.
But
craziness.
What's interesting is that it's mainly to. What was the main purpose? Was it to discuss the lifestyle of the skaters there?
What got me to start the documentary, like how I wound up making it?
Yeah.
Well, my dream was to be to make a career out of skateboarding, and in 2001 I got hit by a car, and this is kind of just it's explained in the documentary, so I'll keep it brief because I want you to watch it. But but basically I got hit by a car, and during my rehabilitation, I spent my time regaining my strength in Peace Park, and I got a video camera, to document the tricks, because back in the day before Instagram and TikTok, you had to get a video camera and create promotional videos that you could then send to distributors and shops and maybe other companies to get sponsored. But there was so much craziness going on around me, I turned my camera to what was going on, and then I realized that I can't just make a skateboard video with a bunch of violence, because then it would be considered like a bum fights, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen bum fights. DVD. But I basically learned from their mistakes. I'm like, nah, I got to do something serious. This is.
Well, you did it for a purpose as opposed to entertainment, because it would have been very entertaining to see all the battles,
right?
The
but
fights.
But out of context, it's just I feel that. What's the word I'm looking for? I mean, just taking advantage of the people, and it's not what I'm here to do. I'm not trying to exploit them, right? If I had just shown skateboarding with a bunch of footage that I collected that was really gnar, then it's just not a good look, right? Yeah. And I have a lot of love for my city, and it just kind of built itself, and I was like, wow, okay, well, this is what I'm doing. But I didn't really have a vision for the documentary in a sense. I didn't already see it. I just knew that I was making one. So I just kept filming every day, filming. People were like...
You got some graphic scenes.
Yeah. I mean, let's not talk too much about it, but it's very graphic because it's street life, and, and then eventually I just started figuring out how to make a documentary. And I realized at one point that I kind of had a story in my mind, what I wanted to tell, but I didn't know how to tell a story. So I really prayed to the universe, I need some help. And then I happened to meet this girl named Jessica McIntyre, and she had a bachelor's of education. And so she's used to writing stories, writing history, and that's what a documentary is, right? Yeah. So we spent a year and a half in my apartment basically writing the documentary together. And, so when she'd be like, well, I had a cool thing I wanted to put in a documentary. She's like, oh, that's really cool. But she was really good at asking me, well, why is that important? How does that fit into the story? Because you can't just talk about things without it having a meaning. Why is it important for someone to know this, right?
So that's why you guys went into history.
And it really, and that was really, and she, she helped write the text for sure too. But, well, she probably wrote most of it, really. I would tell her what I need to say, and then she would write it up, So yeah, it was pretty cool. Where was I going with this?
So it was.
Oh yeah, the documentary, why I made it, right?
Yeah, the purpose. So there was no story behind it that you had in mind, but you knew you wanted to tell a story.
Right, and then what happened is the story was so well told, and it was so well received that it wound up in the Festival du Nouveau Cinéma, which is the FNC. It's a really big, prestigious film festival here in Montreal. It made it into the competition section of the festival. We didn't win, but just being selected was really good, and it played as a work in progress. And then in 2013, because it was played in 2011 in the festival, it played on a giant screen in Peace Park. And then the Society of Arts and Technology, they were doing a programming where they'd show movies in the park. And for the closing of their program, we presented the Peace Park documentary, but we turned it into a huge event. So we had skateboard contest, which is really important. I'll add more into that. We had like musicians, we had free food, you know. It was the most successful event they'd ever seen in Peace Park because it was so seedy. It was really hard for them to animate it. Actually, the SAT tried to animate the park for years with different kinds of concepts, whether it was like a market or like a food tasting thing, and the only thing that really seemed to work was movies. And skateboarding was a potential thing to animate the park, to bring life into it, because it was so seedy. You need to you can't just kick people out, but you got to bring new life into the park. So we pulled heavy. Like, we got the permission to do a skateboard contest, but you can't do it in the park because it was illegal. Okay, yeah. So we got permits to do it in the street. And I don't even know if I should be telling you this. I guess it's okay. I guess it's in the past now, right? The city approved it in the street, but the day of the event, the SAT helped me do it in the park anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So like, we kind of pulled heavy and like, whatever, we're doing it in the park, because you couldn't announce having a skateboard contest on the flyers, you know what I mean, with the city, because the city has to approve it, because it's also in partnership with the city. But we did it in the park, and it was great. And the event was so successful that it helped change the city's opinion towards skateboarding. And then I went and approached the mayor, Denis Coderre at the time, with a pilot project, because this guy loves pilot projects, to legalize skateboarding in the park. And the pilot project was accepted. We had a series of events to animate the park with skateboarding events. And those were a huge success. So in 2015, April 14th, I think it was, skateboarding was legalized in the park. And that's when Thanks
to you, in a way.
I was the face of the movement for sure, but you can't legalize something in a park without everyone's support. So I'd like to, thank everyone that was involved.
You were the spokesperson to that.
Yeah, I took the initiative to get the ball rolling. The idea was presented to me actually in 2004. Monique Savoie, she's like the founder and CEO of the SAT at the time. She really saw what the skateboarders were going through in the park. The documentary really helped showcase that struggle. The documentary's not about skateboarding, but it's pretty clear that they were facing a lot of injustice because it's not really a criminal act. So she wanted to help me legalize it in 2004. That kind of really didn't work at the time. But then in 2014, I approached her. I'm like, I think it's time for us to do this again. And she was totally all about it. So she has a lot of, she knows a lot of people, and she's in the hallways kind of thing of the city, basically the mayor knew I was coming. Like, he heard about the whole project before I even approached him, so he's like, oh yeah, I heard of this. He's like, yeah, okay, well,
But there was like the good that you do at the same time for the community is something that can be approachable, and I can see why, like, really someone would want to support this type of activity.
I'm sorry, say that again? I didn't hear you.
Well, the idea is like that you have like a project that definitely wants to support the community, and I would assume obviously that this is something that will move forward.
Because the city?
Yeah.
Yes and no, because I mean, the idea was always there in 2004 and it didn't work, but the mayor at the time,
just a mayor, was
not having it. You need. That's why it's. Oh my God. That's why it's important to vote.
That's good. It's coming up October.
Oh my God, where's this conversation going? Yeah, it's important to vote because you got to vote for the people that are going to do things for you. I guess that goes on to lobbying and everything. Anyway, so let's not go on a tangent, but after Peace Park was legalized, I kind of wound up with an image of being a public figure. Because, I mean, it was a huge success, right? It's never been done. It was the first park ever to have skateboarding legalized. I think there's only 2 other places in the world that legalized skateboarding at the time. One was a museum, another one was a courthouse, but this is the first public park that was ever legalized.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That wide?
So, yeah. And then all of a sudden, there was Justine McIntyre. She was, oh my God, goodness, sorry. What was her, I can't remember her exact title, but she wrote a motion to help legalize skateboarding as active transportation in the bike, what do they call them? Bike lanes?
Lane?
Les pistes cyclables, sorry, I guess I live in Montreal so often that
we hear them
for so long now, like I don't even know the English word. So she tried legalizing skateboarding in bike lanes, and it got the ball rolling. And then this other, I guess he's an MP. I don't know. He's he's an elected official in Verdun at the time, and he helped legalize skateboarding in the bike pass too. His name was Sterling Downey. So the combined effort, legalized skateboarding in the bike pass, and then I wound up on the news again, right? So it looks like I helped legalize skateboarding in Peace Park. I helped legalize skateboarding in the bike path. So I kind of became known as the skateboard guy, for the mainstream media.
That's
so every time there was something skateboarding related, I'd wind up on CBC or Global News.
So you're a spokesperson for Skateboard Montreal.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say that I am, but I mean, I have wound up in that position several times.
Well,
I'm not claiming anything.
I find that if people give you the title or that position, I guess you get to become it, as opposed to you say that that's what I do. This is who I represent.
Well, no, because there's a lot of other people that really represent skateboarding in the city. It just depends on.
But you seem to be more context. Involved in in the legal politics side of it. Because it could be other people, but more like maybe as a spokesperson to a community to help kids. Maybe as a brand.
If something needs to happen, it's a good idea to call me for sure.
That's it. Now you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm careful about trying to claim positions of power or.
Okay.
Because I mean, a lot of it was. I feel like a lot of the things that I was able to accomplish was luck at the same time too. Do you know what I mean? I put myself out there for sure, but. Like I said, it's the people who are around you, and
that designate you. I find. Well, I find if after a while people give you that title, you best can earn it.
Okay, you want me to say I'll take
go ahead, take it. Take it over here. Own it. You need to own your craft.
Thanks. So after that, the SAT actually helped me a lot by offering me a position as an event coordinator. So I was a full-time employee working as an event coordinator at the SAT, again, which is the Society of Arts and Technology. And it's an institute for the arts and technology right beside Peace Park. I don't know if I made that clear. And that was a good experience because then I started not just organizing events in the park, but I started doing rollouts where skateboarders would skateboard across the city. So they'd have a starting point, and we would start at another skate park in the borough, and then I would work with the police, the fire department, the Quartier des Spectacles, because to have hundreds of kids skateboarding through the streets,
you need
it's a lot of coordination, a lot of volunteers. So I'd like to thank all the volunteers and everyone else who really helped with that. And one of my, an angel for me was this Joliane Mathieu. She was actually working at the SAT, and she was kind of my supervisor. And she kind of helped me grow as an event coordinator at the SAT. And she played a huge role in the legalizing of skateboarding at Peace Park because she would help me write the scripts before I went and saw the mayor. We would write the text how are we going to do this? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm from the streets, you know what I mean? I'm up to go see the mayor. So this is what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that helped me. It wasn't I was just yo, I got this,
No, I understand. And the good thing is that you were surrounded by good people. But you had the image already. You were the initiator behind it. So it just seems fair that, you know what? Because maybe your job of speaking for it was better portrayed from your angle than someone else that maybe didn't have it. Maybe the lady that helped you write everything. Maybe she wasn't a fraud.
Skate. No, she was just there to help me.
Exactly. You know that's great. It's good to have these kind of people. And what year was that around? You were in that, just to put a timeline.
Well, the movie came out in the park in 2013. 2014, we put the pilot project in motion. And then there was a year of events, and then 2015 it was legalized.
Okay.
And then I worked as an event coordinator for up until about 2017. Wound up in the news a lot for the events and stuff too. And then I kind of got bored of doing that.
You did?
Yeah, because I just felt like there was nowhere for me to grow as an event coordinator in Peace Park.
Well, but I find, all right, I understand that point, but I find that maybe you could have taken maybe an opportunity that just follows even something bigger than that, more nationwide.
Well, I can explain.
Go ahead.
I like keeping Peace Park out of the mainstream of skateboarding. And by holding events in Peace Park, I feel like it kind of takes away from the nitty gritty street spot. I'm not trying to turn it into like a gong show. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to have an event there every week. Honestly, I don't. And I don't think skateboarders want it every week either, because we had to do one event a week. It kind of takes away from it. Like if you had one event a year, it's a huge deal. Like everyone's like, yo, it's the one event. But if it gets watered down if you have like weekly events, because that's what we did. We had a skate jam and a free barbecue once a week for like 4 or 10 weeks out of the summer. And like people are like, oh, well, it's, you know, like I'd rather go do this on Tuesday. And today I'm going to go skate somewhere else because like I don't want to be every Tuesday at Peace Park, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it kind of takes away from the impact of the hype of having an event. But at the same time, I did it anyway because skateboarding needs to keep its foothold on the park because it's a public park in the city and it's in part of the Quartier des Spectacles. They want to do other events. And if we're not doing skateboard events when they do other like shows, eventually. No, but they don't take skateboarding into consideration because you're out of sight, out of mind. So if you don't do the events, then the other organizations might privatize the whole park just for like a rock show or a hip hop show, or they'll put like a fence around it, or they'll put an art installation. And then all of a sudden you can't skateboard there because there's another event. But if you're always doing skateboarding events and they want to do a show, well, they're like, oh, well, we want to do an event, but we have to remember that there's skateboarding events once a week. So we can't put things in the park that's going to interfere with the skateboarding.
Like a skater with.
But do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So the skateboarding events it actually helps us maintain our place in the park. And then whenever something happens, you know, they're going to be like, oh, well, how is this going to affect the skateboarding? And that's important. So that's why I did the events, not necessarily because I thought it was like a good old party every Tuesday, you know. And then I did do some bigger events, like one big event a year, which was the rollout where people would skateboard across the city to Peace Park. But, you know, after I've done it 3 years in a row, again, it loses the hype. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how many times do you want to watch, like, you know, Halloween 1? I don't know, what's a good movie where there's like 3 sequels to it? You know, the sequels are never as good, right? You know what I'm saying? So why do you want to have like sequels? It's better just to go out on a one-time show. So that's why I got bored of doing the events in Peace Park. It's just like, I still want to do it, but I want to do one a year now.
All right. So let's say that that boredom to, you know, keep doing the same thing was that what brought you to, let's say, start becoming a businessman and entrepreneur for yourself, let's say your bearings? Are we there yet in that story on your timeline or not yet?
Right. Well, I think this is a good time to introduce like what I thought was going to be the theme for this.
No, I wanted to discuss. That's good. No, that's good.
It's cool. Because I kind of like, in my mind, I was mentally prepared for this podcast because I wanted to be really, you know, I wanted to be meaningful, right? Like, why again? Like, this is what I learned from Jessica. Why do people want to listen to me? What's important about me being here? Do you know what I mean? And I think it's a message, and the message that I want to share with people is that passion is my key to happiness, right? And I think that passion can be the path for everyone's happiness. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're passionate about something, well, obviously, if you're doing it, you're happy. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of, all the rest of life's complications kind of fall into place, or they become more manageable because you're so passionate about what you're doing that like the other things don't really matter. That's for me, right?
But you see, that's why I felt like I wanted to bring you there to understand that part first, because one of the goals I gave myself to the podcast and the people I'm going to bring here is that, yes, we have, let's say, a current social image that we portray online, but at the same time, I find that, and this goes back to my experience in where I was meeting business people doing pitch, and, you know, when I was younger, I was always uptight because I wanted to show this image to them. But when I got to meet my client furthermore and we understood and, you know, became more friend to a certain level, I came to discover someone else. I was like, damn, you're not that person who I met initially. And I find I like better that person. And I find that, you know, that chemistry that you discover after, I feel like if we can, you know, get a nice introduction in the beginning, it gets to in a way, like, for lack of better words, fall in love with a person.
Right.
Because, the personality is nice. And I find that people will buy your personality even more before than your product or your service. So I find if I can push,
Well, that's what I said last time.
and look at where you are now.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, yeah.
So the passion side, I
have to agree, because that's what my belief as well.
So,
I guess, okay, so like, yeah, passion for me is what led me to RX. That was your question, is like, are we there in the story? And yeah, RX it comes right after when I got bored with doing the events. But I didn't just go right into RX. I went into university, and I started RX at the same time. And
you were teaching?
No, I went to university to become a teacher.
To become a teacher?
Yeah, I was 38, I guess. Yeah, 38. And I decided that I wanted to learn how to write, because I was basically illiterate. You know what I mean? I can read, I can write, but I couldn't write a proper sentence. I had a lot of successes in my life. Example, for the documentary, couldn't have done it without Jessica. That's why she did most of the writing. I couldn't write. Even to write the proposal to get money, I got funding from the Quebec, Conseil des Arts Québec, Canadian Council for the Arts, the National Film Board, PRIM, which is an independent production house. They, all these people like gave me help support the documentary, but I wasn't able to write a proposal to go after it. I had to have 3 or 4 people read my stuff and correct it for me. So I was always relying on other people's help. And then after the event coordinating, I realized that to be able to take my life to the next level, I need to be self-sufficient. I decided to go to university to basically learn how to write. And I have a lot of passions. Like, I really like science. I thought maybe I could become like in physics or something, but there's no career for me in that. You know, I'm a skateboarder.
Pro skater to physician.
You know, so I was like, well, what could I do? And then actually, okay, it's funny. Like, this is gonna make sense. So after the Peace Park documentary, and actually during the Peace Park documentary, since about 2001, I was invited to universities to do workshops and speak to students in urban planning. I went to CGIPS for social exclusion, some kind of course on like social exclusion. So I would show the documentary and ask questions. And also a lot of students would always have different kinds of projects, and they wanted to include Peace Park in it, whether it was for urban designing or, you know, some kind of social aspect. And so I already had a feel for teaching, right? I'm not teaching, but I'm showing people, you know. I kind of felt like it was a teaching position, workshops. And then when the documentary came out, I got invited to high schools. I went to Mac High, which is actually my old high school, and there's a teacher, Lisa Brown. She invited me to give a workshop to her film class because she had like a whole new program. It was a new course. And I got to give them advice on how to make film. I got to judge their final projects. It was really cool. And I'm like, yo, teaching is really cool. And I really enjoyed it because, you know, I was helping them with their passions, which was filmmaking at the time. So then I realized, well, maybe I should become a teacher. So I wound up going into university to become an ESL teacher, teaching English as a second language. It was a 4-year program, and I accomplished my goal. I mean, I learned how to write. And not only that...
Interesting.
Not only that, it also improved my social literacy skills, because at university, it's a different environment than hanging out in the streets for 20 years. You know, so a lot of the times I had to grow my confidence in... I'm a confident person, right? But I still don't feel like I fit in. And spending time in a university setting, especially someplace like McGill, where, you know, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything negative, but let's just say McGill is not like Concordia.
You say McGill already, like we understand.
Concordia is a little bit more liberal. McGill's a little bit more, you know, molded, let's say. So, and I survived it, and I think it was great for me. I grew, you know, personally, my personal development, and now I can write, you know. So and then at the same time, where am I going with this? Then and also just before I started university, that's when I met Mark, who you mentioned earlier. And yes, he is working on something very special, but I'm not going to talk about it.
That's not his show today.
But he was looking for a skateboarder to help with his new product. And he was telling me about his other partners. And one of his partners happens to be a bearing expert. And I thought that was a great idea because I'd love to be able to make bearings. I was like, I want to be the king of bearings. Do you know what I mean? So he put me in contact with his partner, and together we spent 3 years developing RX bearings, and now it's taking off. I mean, it's crazy. It's going really, really well because they're super high precision bearings. You can't get any better bearings, and I guess I can start selling the bearings to you at this point. But
go ahead. What's the pitch?
Yeah, well, the bearings the advantage of RX is they're such high precision that it influenced the branding. That's why they're medical grade precision bearings. And we also provide transparency in our product. A lot of the bearing companies who've been around for ages and they have lots of brand loyalty, they just tell you our bearings are the best, and and some of them even invent their own rating systems of these bearings are this, these bearings are that. But our bearings, we actually provide all the technical specifications of the bearings, but the real ones. There's certain things about bearings that, bearing engineers and experts are going to tell you, well, this is what we follow. Like there's the ball grade, how perfectly round the balls are inside the units, the composition of the materials, how much noise the bearing makes, the contact angle, and all these things, no other company provides them. So we're actually the first to say, look, these are medical grade precision bearings. These are our tolerance levels. These are the specifications, and you can make an educated decision on the product that you're buying. And I invite them to compare them to any other bearing, I'm even going to mention the other brands' names but the leading competition, or brand, with me right now, you can compare them to anybody, and you'll see that there's nothing can beat RX.
That's it. I like the confidence, and you know what? I take your word for it.
We feel so strongly about our bearings that I even put a limited warranty on them for.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you break a bearing, just send it back. I'll replace it.
Okay. How long have you been doing it?
Well, RX has been. I'm in my second year of sales, and it's going really well. But right now, I'm in the entrepreneurial trap of doing everything myself.
The first 2 years, yeah. Is this your first entrepreneurial? Well, besides the documentary, there's entrepreneurship a bit behind it, but not to a point to over here. You want to grow, you want to scale, you want to make profit. Right.
Well, I had all these things that I thought I was going to talk about during this podcast, and it's like I see how it's going, and I might not be able to fit everything in, but I can squeeze this one in.
Well, go ahead.
You're talking about entrepreneurial skills. I think that business skills I don't know. I think it goes back to passion, right?
It does. Passion has a lot to do with entrepreneurship.
You don't need entrepreneurial skills. You don't need to have previous experience. If you're passionate about something, you're going to figure it out as you go. And some people refer to me as a hustler. Like you hustle, hustle and bustle. You want something, you go get it. But the motivation, the driving factor behind all that is your passion for what you're doing.
100%.
And my passion is for skateboarding, and skateboarding led me to bearings. And the key, again, for me, the key to happiness is if you're passionate about something, for example, if you want to be a basketball player, and that's your passion, but you might not make it to the NBA, but maybe you're going to wind up making basketballs and you'll still be, or maybe you'll be coaching kids, or maybe you'll be working at the basketball court, like in a giant arena or something. But whatever you're doing is related to basketball, and you're still going to be happy. And that's how come, because what happens if you get injured, and you can't skateboard anymore, but you're still in the realm of your passion. So I think that, if you follow your passion, you may not have you may not see where you're going, because I didn't when I was 15, but I fell in love with skateboarding when I was 5. And, if you keep following your passion, then your dream will become more concrete as you get older, and you're gonna find your way.
I agree 100%.
And what's interesting is my first job. Well, my first job, we're not gonna talk about it, but I was 6 years old. Actually, I was working in a sugar shack. At 6 years old, but they couldn't even pay me. They were paying me with maple syrup.
Eat.
Bro, they were paying me. And then my parents would take the cans. They were like $6 a can, and they'd sell it to their friends. And that's how I make my money. And then when I was 11, I was like, bro, you got to start paying me. You know what I mean? I'm carrying the 2 buckets, tree to tree. I'm already driving the tractor, and they're like, okay, So they started paying me when I was 11. That sugar shack's not around anymore, but good times. But when I was 10 or 11, my mom, and this is, I guess, like where the start of my confidence in not necessarily business, but in sales, right? There was these catalogs called the Regal catalogs. And it was kind of like Avon. So you could go to the catalog and you could buy things like polka dotted candles. You could buy like wrapping paper. You can buy like, I don't know, knickknacks. Do you know what I mean? And the books, I don't know, they cost a few cents. They were like 10 or 15 cents. And then I would go around with the catalog and an order form. And I'd go around my neighborhood and I would leave them on people's doorsteps. And then I'd go back and see if anybody had any orders. I'd take all the orders. My mom would drive me to the distributor. And I don't even really understand how I made money. I wanted to ask my mom about, because I was so young.
She's the one who, so basically you did the door-to-door for her?
No.
She would just, not even?
No. She was like, you could make money doing this. I'm like, really? She's like, yeah. So I did it. Like, and like, my old neighbor, this guy, Wes Truax, he was my neighbor. I hadn't seen him in about 10 years. And the other day, he's like, since you were a kid, if somebody wanted to do something and they said to you, let's go, I was ready at the word go. I didn't even need to know what we were doing.
Okay. Let's go.
Yeah, that was me, right? So I was always like that. So I tried, my mom's like, oh, well, you can make money delivering like flyers to people's houses. You got like 1 penny a house. But there wasn't enough houses in my neighborhood. It didn't make sense. So they said, well, maybe you could try this. And I did it. Like the only thing my mom helped me do was go pick it up at the distributor.
Yeah.
But I did everything else. I collected the money. I had a wooden wagon, and you put like these wooden things like to like create like the sides, and I would pile everything up in my wooden wagon, and I would go around the neighborhood delivering things to all the houses that ordered things.
Oh, it's pre-Amazon. Huh.
It was, yeah. You know what? Yeah, pretty much. So I was doing this when I was 10 years old, and by the time I was 13, I saved up enough money to buy my first pro board.
And you know what?
My first pro skateboard. But you see, the motivation comes again from my passion for skateboarding, because I wanted to get a pro skateboard, and no one was going to buy it for me. So at 10 years old, I started working, hustling, going door to door, just to get my first skateboard.
But a lot of people, one thing in common that a lot of people that come here, I realize they have these 2 things: the hustling and the passion. For example, what was my hustling when I was like I was maybe 13, 14, something like that.
No, tell me about your hustling. I'm curious, actually.
It's a stupid product, doesn't make sense. But back then there were these sticker machines that you put like a quarter and then you press and then it'll just pull out a sticker.
Kinda, yeah. I usually went for the bubble gum. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but in the same principle.
Yeah.
So there was right next to my house, and that's when I used to live in the States. There was this factory. I guess they printed sticker, and they threw all these stickers. There were boxes that were laying in front as garbage.
Right.
Me and my cousin walking by, and we see these boxes. One is halfway open, and we open. It's like, it's stacked with stickers, but it was the Playboy Bunny logo.
No.
Stickers, all colors.
What?
And I was like, damn, these are the same stickers that, you sell in these machines for 25 cents. And then there's other boxes, and then some of them are like just sticker, like these, just these shiny stickers that you would buy and put on your lunchbox or anything like that. And there were like maybe a few boxes, maybe 6, 7 of them. So me and my cousin, we take just half and half. So I just threw the whole box into my backpack and went to school with it. I was selling the stickers for 25 cents each. And I was making...
You were selling Playboy stickers?
Yeah.
At school?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
People were just attracted by the fact I have a sticker.
You didn't get in trouble? Like, why does your son have Playboy stickers?
Promoting pornography.
I mean?
When you think about it, I never saw it that angle.
Man, That's really funny.
But nonetheless,
that's a good one.
I was making some, and all right, just to add more into it. So whatever money I got from the stickers, well, I would buy myself lunch, or I would buy Pokemon cards, and I'll get the expensive Pokemon cards and then resell the Pokemon cards.
Yeah, you worked your way up.
Yeah, that was like something of that first hustle. Oh shit, I could.
How old are you? You were 13, you said?
Yeah, 13, 14, some shit like that.
There you go, man. There you go.
And when one lesson of that, let's say that little thing about the Playboy stickers is that quote, one man's garbage, another man's treasure. And I literally took fucking garbage and made something out of it. Got Pokemon cards but that was like the first related story of hustle that I had something similar to go knock door to door.
When I was really young, we used to go shopping for groceries on Saturday mornings. We went to the mall, and there was like a bubble gum machine, not the one with the stickers, but like the red ones, the classic. You put the quarter in or whatever, it was 5 cents. You'd turn it, and the money would come out. For some reason, I don't know what happened, but I hit it, and it went boom, and a bubble gum came out. And the thing was full. So I was in the mall. It must have been like 6:30 in the morning or 7 in the morning. The mall was still empty. And my mom went shopping, and me and my brother were there just like, bing, 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 bing. And we filled up. We emptied the bubble gum machine. And you could hear it go bing, and it would echo throughout the mall. Man, I remember that. Sorry, that's what you made me think of that when you talked about the machine.
You see? And this is what happened in this podcast. But to get back to the story, the hustle and the passion, like, it's very important. Like my last guest that I had is going to be, by the time this is going to be published, she'll be already out, Miss Taco. Her too, like at 10 years old, she started hustling, doing things because she had so much freedom. And she was always, let's say, doing these little hustle. And today she's 25. Very young with 2 restaurants that she opened during pandemic.
Wow.
I was like,
good for her.
And she's Mexican.
Step my game up. No.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You see, it's funny because she's Mexican and she took something very typical of Mexican and made it a business, tacos.
Right. Well, it's always good to work with what you know, right?
Well, bearings. Well, skate.
Skateboarding, yeah. I mean, and she was probably, I imagine she's passionate about tacos or restaurants or something.
I mean, everyone.
She must be if she's making it work.
Well, what was fun about that is that, and on a clever way, like if you want to think about business marketing, I like to plug some marketing shit on how to see things, but see how the trends are going. And Tuesday is related to Taco Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So when you see things like that, imagine just, using a trend that's going on to start a business in this case. Like,
yeah, that's a good way of doing it. The going back to like what I kind of drifted off. I was listening, but
go ahead.
Going back to what you said, like after I started my door-to-door career with Regal Catalogs when I was 17. I started going door-to-door selling security systems. I used to go door to door, like scare tactics. I'd knock on people's door and I'd be like, yeah, hi, I'm here with Neighborhood Protection Services. We're just in the area installing a monitored security program. There's been a lot of break-ins in the area, so what we're doing... Wait, you're not supposed to laugh. You're supposed to be scared. We're installing the system.
Pitch, though.
We're installing the system for free. Okay, and it just takes a few minutes for me to explain it to you. And then they're like, "Oh, okay." So you walk in, and then I had like a binder with like newspaper cutouts from like home invasions, burglaries, all these things that were actually going on in the city, but we would concentrate them into.
That's great. Using fear to sell product, like politics and media.
Yeah, it was. Damn, I never really thought of it that way. I was just, anyway. So,
if I was selling pornography at 14, promoting pornography,
but I was working for a company.
Fear.
I didn't make this up, man. I was using the model that they gave me, but I was just really good at it. So then I would scare them.
But that's how business works. There's a need.
Right, but so
Yeah, go ahead.
Hold that thought, right? So then after I'd scare them, then I'd show them this is the system. We're going to give it to you for free. This is how much it's worth. And then, and all they had to do was pay for the monthly monitoring. But you see, the thing is, selling is motivating someone to make a decision which he or she perceives as good for themselves. That's right. So but if they don't see the need, you have to create the need. And that's what I did with the security systems. It was a little bit different. Do you know what I mean? There's two ways. There's finding a need and then like having the solution for it. But there's the more controversial way of creating a need, and sometimes you can be successful with that too, right? So
it works. Well,
so I got a lot of experience with door-to-door sales selling the security systems, but then I got into natural gas, and natural gas was it was like basically like a gas broker, right?
Yeah, the propane.
You can buy gas from let's say gas, the major gas company. Each province has theirs. So like Ontario Energy, let's say, Ontario Gas. I don't even know what it's called anymore, but we would buy the company that I was working for would buy volume of the gas, and then they could have a fixed gas price instead of like going up with the fluctuating market of gas. We'd be like, we buy a bunch and we're gonna sell it to you at this price. We're gonna lock you in for a contract. So it was the deregulation of gas prices. This was in Ontario actually. So I would go in and I would say, I'm here with Ontario Energy, and then I'd sign them up.
I just see you changing straight every time selling a new product. Right now I'm RX.
Right? No. You're going to see there's a big difference. So anyway, I would sign them up. I'm not going to give you the pitch, but I mean, it wasn't misleading, but I didn't give all the information. I gave them
pitch? I want to hear the pitch.
Well, the company was called Ontario Energy Savings Corporation. And I would just say, I'm here with Ontario Energy, and then I wouldn't say the Savings Corporation part. And people who are already had signed up with a gas broker, it would show up on their gas bill. It would say, and it's just the way it was done. So you didn't want to try and sign someone up who was already using a broker, because some people were getting signed up and they didn't even know. And that, you know what I mean? So I didn't want to waste my time. So I would say, I'm here with Ontario Energy. I need to see your gas bill. People are supposed to be receiving a new stable price program, but it's not showing up on everyone's bill. Can you just give me a gas bill? I need to check it. And that's it. And they would go and get their bill, and I'd see, you see, you're supposed to have this new stable price program. It's not here. I just need you to fill this up. But they would sign it, and I'd go away.
Damn.
And I made $12 for everyone that I signed up. I signed up 201 people in a week, and I was making $3,000. I was making more money than my managers, who were even making, they were getting a cut off of what I was making. And they would fly me all over Ontario. They'd fly me to Windsor, all over the place.
This guy know how to sell gas.
I can sell anything.
Well, you know what?
But I didn't like it. Okay, before we go on another tangent, what I want to say is I didn't like it.
Yeah, no, because it's shady.
It's not because, yes. But I also sold something. I was a representative for prepaid legal. Prepaid legal is a legal insurance. So it's not a question of if you're going to need a lawyer, it's a question of when.
Oh my God, you're selling insurance? Oh, this is like the most crooked, both.
Wait, no, what are you talking about?
Well, insurance.
Yeah, it's a huge company. It still exists to this day. It's huge.
I find legal too. It's like sometimes lawyers are special.
No, man.
Respect to all my lawyer friends.
Take it easy. This is a legit company, okay? It was
I understand that.
It was prepaid legal. That what they would do is it was $25 a month, and then you had access to a lawyer all over North America, 5-star lawyers. They'd hold them on retainer, and then let's say you got a parking ticket, all you had to do was call it prepaid legal, and they would represent you for anything that wasn't criminal. Anything that was civil, you had a lawyer because you were paying it. It's like an insurance. It's $25 a month.
I mean,
what?
Yeah.
What's that? I can't hear you. You're saying they have that in Quebec now?
CAA.
Right. It's kind of the same thing. Yeah. If your car breaks down, they're going to come get you. So, and these were for lawyers. So now let's say you were driving across the States and you got a speeding ticket. You can't go back to the States to represent yourself in court, but you could call it prepaid legal, and their network of lawyers would have someone in that state and they would go and fight the ticket for you. No, it was really good. But the thing is, I wasn't passionate about it. That's all I wanted to say. Is the reason why I didn't do that is because I wasn't passionate about it. And then I had a lot of success selling security systems, selling natural gas. I was making $3,000 a week at 17, but I wasn't happy because I'd rather have been skateboarding. So I gave it all up for skateboarding.
You know, I like the lesson behind that because it's very wise.
Because it goes back to your passion. And if you're passionate about it, then you're also gonna your integrity is gonna come out. You know what I mean? You're gonna be behind products that you know are you care about.
That you respect. People will respect you at the same time even more because one thing that we see a lot, let's say with people with the new generation, I guess, is that they want things now and they want it flashy, they want it big, they want it like certain sort of way. Like there's a good percentage of the generation that's really into the image. And in order to get the image, you need money. And in order to get money, especially young, because some people like at 19, 20, like they want things right now, quick and easy, Amazon Prime style.
I want things. I mean, if I
think we all do.
If I could get my money fast,
I think we all do. But but there are moments where, as a person, it's not because you're making the money right now that it's you're in the right direction.
Right. No, true. But it depends what you want. Some people what am I trying to say? They make the mistake of thinking money is going to bring them happiness. I don't believe money brings you happiness. I believe it brings you freedom, more freedom of choice, but it doesn't make you happy, right?
Money brings you, it leads you to maybe your happiness, I would say. Because let's say in a way, when I started making more money, I was able to invest into things that maybe cost something, but I can't really not making money right away.
Okay.
And then eventually it started making money because you're doing something for yourself, for the passion once again, and not only for trying to make money out of it.
Right. Well, I'm pretty sure, I don't really understand what you're saying, to be honest, but I think that money can bring happiness, but I think true happiness comes from passion and love. And do you know what I mean? Because if you have money, because I know some people who don't have a passion. I know some people who are sons of billionaires and they don't know what to do in life because they don't have a passion. They have all this money. They have money they could invest. They could start their own business. They could do anything in the world. And what do? They just sit there and be like, I don't know what to do. I don't have any passion. And these people exist. That's why I don't think that money...
I don't either, but let's say if I was...
is the answer. I think that having something you care about and something that you want to do, a reason to get up, you know?
If I was that resourceful, I'll be able to put my money somewhere in things that will make me more happy. Let's say for someone that's a son of a billionaire, saving the planet, maybe you can go rent the dang boat and start cleaning up the oceans, things like that. You made the money, brought you to something.
Yeah, but you'd be passionate about it, or you like some people just don't. I'm just saying, you have it. That's obviously not your problem. Because
hope not. If not, in the wrong field every Wednesday.
You have your own podcast show. You can't. We're not comparing.
Yeah.
You're not in the seat. You know. You're not the issue. Like it's the people that really don't have passions. They do exist. Is all I'm saying.
But that's why I find
I've met them and like I feel.
But it's good to say that for this conversation, I find there's a lot of understanding of the passion behind it because passion will lead you to your happiness.
That's what I fully believe. And like. Anyway, yeah.
Going back to the bearings, was it a all right? Skate was is a passion. The bearings could be maybe a byproduct of your passion. Was it like
I'm passionate about speed.
All right,
I'm passionate about my product for sure.
Yeah, not for sure. But was it an opportunity that was presented to you, or is it an opportunity that you saw a need when you started the bearings? Because
okay, so when I was in CEGEP, I created it was in a sports performance class, and I took it, and it was kind of like a motivational class for peak performance and like how to improve your life, and they teach you that if you want to be good at sports, you have to have like a balanced lifestyle, right? And these things I already knew, but not, it's still like, it's good to hear it again. And one of the exercises, they said, write a timeline for what you want to do in life. And this was in CGIP, right? So I said, well, I want to finish school. I want to make a career out of skateboarding. I want to own a skateboard company. I want to own, like, I even wrote it down. I wanted to own a bar. I wanted, like all these different things, like a party or a clubhouse, like just for the team. And like, I had this whole thing, right? And I'm not anywhere close to following the timeline. But what has happened is I've actually done all those things on the list. So I always wanted to have my own skateboard company, but when I was younger, I thought it was going to be an actual board company, the board. Do you know what I mean? But the skateboard market is oversaturated with board companies. It's harder to get into something like bearings because, I guess a lot of people don't have the confidence because the other leading brands also have like a lot of strong brand loyalty. It takes a lot of work to like get into that, get a piece of the market. But when I found out that I could have access, to high-end bearings, it was a no-brainer. I'm like, it was an instant fall. Like I fell in love right away. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, like you saw.
Yeah, it wasn't like I wanted to have a bearing company. I wanted to have a skateboard company. But, you got to go with the flow. You got to go with the times. So, and then, like, as soon as I saw that opportunity, I was like, this is what I want. Like, and I was like, this makes sense. And I'm going to make the best bearings. And, and I became like a bearing nerd.
So in university, you met Mark. And Mark...
No, I met Mark before university.
All right, before. So, all right, you met Mark, and Mark was looking for a skater. You're a skater.
And then Mark hooked me up with his partner.
But was it Mark that made the connection with his partner, or
Mark acted as basically a mentor for me. He helped me. Like for example, I've never imported anything from China. So and Mark, he's like an international businessman, right? So he would be like, "Well, this is what you got to do," and he'd explain it to me and talk to me and spent a lot of time. Like I could have probably figured it out myself, but it probably would have taken me like 10 years.
But it's the goal of having a mentor to
that's
accelerate things.
I don't think I've ever. Yeah,
no, it's good.
He's helped me out enormously, and I'm very grateful and very thankful. And so, for example, invoicing. I know how to make an invoice, but when you're doing invoicing and you're importing from China, and he's like, "Well, you need to put this on there," and he would review it for me, just the same way people review my papers before I went to university. So yeah, I'm very passionate about it. And what was your question though? I wasn't sure where we were going with this.
I don't even know.
What I can say now though is, now that I've got RX going and I'm in my second year, I need to take it to the next step, because I don't have a scaling problem. I can order as many bearings as I need, but I need to be able to go to the international market. I'm looking at right now I'm in the process of creating a business plan, because I have a vision for RX and I want to step it up. I don't want to take the slow boat route of selling an order, doubling the order, tripling the order, until I can finally make enough money to hire someone to help me. I want to get like an investment, or find someone that wants like an angel investor that's going to help like get my business to the next level. And because and it's interesting because previously I was making filming, and as a skateboarder I realized I would like to make 360-degree helmet cameras for skateboarding, where you have like a helmet and the camera's embedded in the helmet, and that doesn't exist yet. Do you know what I mean, for skateboarding? And I think that having a new, and the reason why, for those helmets, there's a lot of benefits to having them, because a lot of people put GoPros on their helmets, and it's really cumbersome. It also affects the integrity of the helmet, so your helmet's not going to be, the integrity of the security of the helmet is compromised, because you're putting holes in it, and if there's something on here, it can hurt you. And also, it would change the POV. It would be first-person point of view instead of being a foot above the head, right? So, and I think I see that as a new product that I'd like to introduce to skateboarding. and I'm creating a business plan to try and get someone who would like to invest in this new product with me. And that product would help take RX and put it, cut it through the noise of all the other bearing companies. Do you know what I mean? And like bring,
I see.
attract,
So
because but the reason why we need helmets for RX, because my bearings are so fast, people are going to kill themselves.
That's it. I like the slogan, like, the bearings are so fast, you need our helmet.
Yeah. No, because I have a dream for RX.
But it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes.
Yeah. So I'm working on a business plan, and like that's going to be like the next product. I don't want to get too much into it, but I mean that's the goal for RX right now. Is creating a business plan with a new product, and with this, and then once I have that new product, then we can take RX to the next level, because it's gonna. So
right now you're doing sales. Sales are working out very good.
Yeah, we're doing pre-orders and everything.
You have an e-com?
Sorry?
You have an e-com website?
Do I?
Do you have an e-commerce?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's rxbearings.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I also have rxskateboarding.com.
Where do you get the
I'm working on, we're rebuilding the website right now, but it's already up, yeah.
Where do you get most of your orders from?
From shops. We're in over 60 locations across Canada right now.
So only Canada, not in the US.
I have an account in the States, but I don't want to try and enter the market in the States right now, because I don't want to have an issue of a supply issue, because if people order the bearings, I still need money to order them to be able to sell them.
Cash flow.
Exactly. So right now I'm going taking it slow. Do you know what I mean? I'm just like, my orders are getting bigger and bigger, but that's why if I want to, make a huge jump, then I need a cash injection so I can grow the company even faster.
All right,
and start hitting international markets, because the packaging process right now is actually, it's pretty hands-on. I want to automate the packaging process. I want to be able to.
We'll show a picture on the. You can see.
Yeah, take one out of there.
So what I like is the packaging, the idea, right? One thing I find, let's say if I do my analysis, first you have a branding, which the branding is very important, I find. Nowadays, branding, could be the number one thing you need, because once you have branding, you get to build a community. You get to build, let's say, a relationship with your customers. I like the idea over here, like the RX already is like, RX is like a term in a pharmaceutical, and you sell it in these little pill bottle cap.
Pill containers. Vials.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I said, the quality of the bearings are so precise that it kind of influenced the branding. And
so based on the color, it's a different.
Yeah, there's four kinds, right? See, the green ones are the MGP 710s. So it means that it has a ball grade 10, and it's an ABEX 7 ball grade 10. There's other parameters that go into making a bearing, but this is how we coded them. So, and all the information about our bearings are available on our site, which is rxbearings.com. But we have four kinds. We have the greens, which are a ball grade 10. The blue ones are a ball grade 5. The lower the number, the more precise the balls are, because it's less deviation from a perfect sphere. Here, I can show you these here. So these ones are the greens. So these are the lowest end, but these ones are still better than any of the leading brands' highest end bearings.
Okay. So
and I'm not even kidding. You have our bearing specs. Go do your research. Tell me if I'm lying.
How much they sell?
These ones are $25 in the store. And then the blue ones are a step up from the greens. And these ones sell for $40 in the store. These ones are hybrid. They're like a hybrid bearing. It has 6 steel bearings and 1 ceramic bearing. And the 1 ceramic bearing acts as a cleaning and polishing system, because ceramic is denser than the metal. So if any contaminants get in the bearing, the ceramic bearing goes in there and it crushes any sand that gets in there. If there's any kind of imperfections that wind up in the raceway, which is where the balls, because it's kind of like two grooves and the ball runs through it. Yeah. So if there's any inconsistencies in there, it polishes it. But they're not so like the ceramic, that's what they're good for. And these are full ceramic. The full ceramic has 7 balls that are all ceramic, and so but they're more resistant to water, because if any rust gets in there, the ceramic balls don't rust, and it'll just clean the rust out of the raceway. So even if the exterior of your bearing has like superficial rust on the outside, the inside's still going to be clean because the ceramic is just going to polish away any rust. So these ones do the same thing, but they're just not as water resistant because there's actually steel balls in it. And if the steel balls get wet and they start to rust, then your bearings can seize up. But it's an in between, right? And it's so these ones are 50, and the ceramics are 110.
So those are high.
Yeah, they're the high end. Yeah.
Do you see yourself, let's say, doing partnering with other brands for events, skating events, like having your banner on these top?
Do you mean like sponsoring events or holding my own events?
Well, I would say sponsoring events. Well,
I did a skateboard. RX had its first skateboard demo this summer. We went to a skateboard store, and it was Windsurf Board Shop. I hope I remember that right. Windsurf Board Shop, and they invited us out, and we did a demo for their local community in their local park. And of course, we bring out the banners. We put them out there. You got to be careful who, you decide to endorse, or who you want to attach your brand to, because like sometimes there's like an event or a contest, but if you put your banner on it, it could be a bad look. You want to have, you want to associate your brand. If you're going to be doing that in skateboarding, it's important that your brand is associated with other brands that you like, or you kind of see yourself, not the same image, but I mean, if a brand has a bad reputation, you don't want to have your brand beside it, right, on a flyer or in an event. So there's definitely some politicking going on in skateboarding, and you got to be careful who you associate with.
So the next step is
if there's something that makes sense, like an event, yeah, sure, we're down. Like we're down to sponsor local communities. We're really big on sponsoring local skaters. So if stores have all the time, stores are like, hey, can you send us some bearings? We want to give out some prize contests. So we're doing a lot of that for local stores, but we haven't gotten involved in any major events.
Would you do the major thing?
Yeah, but I mean, we probably don't have what it takes to get involved right now. Like in terms
of finance or just.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if they want us to, for example, some contests, they probably, I don't know. Like I've been an event coordinator. I know what I ask for people.
That's
if
good.
I'm doing an event, I'm like, yo, I need this amount of money, and then you can bring your products. If someone wants our products, then sure, we're down to support. But, I'm not going to start investing cash flow into events, because we're just not there yet.
Yeah.
I'd rather put our money into the local skateboarders and the people that really need it. I'd rather, that's what we're doing right now. We're giving out bearings. We're sponsoring over 100 skaters across Canada, all ages, all genders, or
So right now you're doing
the people identify. It's like.
So you're doing your business plan. The next step, the business plan, you're going to present it to investors, potential investors. And after that, you feel like that you'll be ready to start.
I'm on track to do that, yeah. Working on it now.
So is it by next year you expect yourself to begin, let's say, securing at least an investment and being able to, go the next step?
It's hard to say. I don't.
Have you given yourself a timeline?
I have a goal. I have a timeline. Definitely within the next year. But I don't have. I can't say exactly. I'm not going to say, this is within the next year.
Okay.
Just because there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of variables, especially in the entrepreneurial trap of doing everything by myself. There's always things that are constantly popping up, but I'm very close, and sometimes negotiations can take like 6 months. You don't
tell me about it.
So I don't really. You know what I mean? Like I don't. That's what I mean. Like I'm going to be ready way before a year to be able to approach people, but I'm hoping in a year I'll have something locked down.
Okay.
Within a year, sooner. I mean, As soon as I can find the right match and someone that wants to.
What else are you looking for? Any specific talent around? Because you said, I think initially, if not, I know we had discussed this, but you're kind of doing everything now. So you need a team to maybe start helping you with other things.
Most definitely, yeah.
What is the main thing you need right now? What kind of a talent or person, partner you would like to have?
Oh, man, there's so many roles that could be filled. Someone who could run e-commerce. Someone who could do everything that's on the web. Web and social media.
Marketing.
Marketing. There's right? I mean, you need a sales rep, someone who's going to go after the accounts, run after, invoices, creating invoices. You need someone that's going to be doing the designing of the apparel. You need someone that's going to be doing the e-commerce. You need someone that's going to be creating content, who's actually out in the streets filming skateboarders, because that's really important, because you need to showcase, skaters using your product. That's one of the really big things in skateboarding. So we need someone that can be on the street filming. But I mean, and marketing is definitely one of them, because for example, for me, I have a vision. I see how I'm going to make the business grow, but you still need someone like a soundboard. You need a team. You need someone
of course.
And there's other people who have ideas that you might not have, and they can be like, yo, this should do this, or I'm a marketer and I've been marketing for years, and if you do this, you're going to be able to reach way more people. And then, so there's definitely room for all of those positions. Yeah.
So guys, if you are into skating and marketing, I think could be a good opportunity, reach out to David Boots.
True.
You can already tell by he's passionate about what he's doing. So I like your energy. I see that, I feel that later on you are going to get to a nice space. You have it in you. Lastly, Montreal Plaza, you wrote here, future.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's the newest project. See, I do so many different things in skateboarding. When I was doing the events in Peace Park, I learned how to get things moving in the city. The city's like a very slow moving boat, right? So you can get things done, but it's not going to happen quickly. So there's a park that was built in 2007. It was called the Montreal Skate Plaza, and it was under the Jacques Cartier Bridge, and it was a complete disaster. The design, it's dangerous. No one wanted to use it. I could go on forever about how bad it was. And I decided that I wanted to do something about it. So I organized an event there with the l'Association Skateboard de Montréal. It's the Montreal Skateboard Association, which is a nonprofit organization, and I'm the project director for the Ville-Marie borough. I'd like to stay concentrated in the Ville-Marie because it's a really dense area and there's a lot of things going on there, and I like to stay focused just on that part of the city. But I did an event there to showcase that we as skateboarders want to use the space, but it's so bad that we can't.
It needs to be improved.
And to draw attention to that, I got money from the city and to do an event. It was called Meilleur truc pire obstacle, so best tricks on the worst obstacles. So we did the event. It was really great. Everyone came out to support the event, to have a good time, but also at the same time bring attention to how poor the park's design was. So when you receive funding from the city, you have to write a final report. They ask you what went well, what didn't go well, and I wrote, we give us money to renovate the park, and then also give us money so we can animate the park on a regular basis. And it took 4 or 5 years, but we ended up getting 1.7 million. And then when the money came in, they contacted us, and then they asked. I got to help design the park. So the park was designed with Charles Deschamps and myself. We designed a park, and I wanted to put an all granite plaza there because I didn't want to put a traditional skate park because there's a lot of them already and all over the city. I wanted to build something that was similar to Peace Park. It took some convincing, but we did it. You know what I mean? And I know what's really crazy is that the Granite Plaza was way over budget. They gave us 1.7, and the park cost like 2.6. So I managed to get support from the whole skateboard community. I wrote a letter. I sent it out to all the skate shops, all the skateboard companies, professional skateboarders. And I wrote a letter, and I was like, this is what's going on. We want an all granite plaza, and everyone got on board. We put everyone's name at the end of the letter, and it was enough to get an extra $1 million.
Wow!
So now the project is budgeted at $2.7 million, and it's started construction. It's being built right now. It's supposed to be done sometime in October.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll be the first all granite plaza.
Wow! Congrats.
Yeah, in North America, at least, as far as I know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I've been told anyway. Yeah. You
still don't consider yourself the one owning these initiatives to do. You're just doing things, but you don't see. You're just too humble.
Look, I mean, I don't, and I really don't. And the reason why is because there's other people who are doing things. There's alone at the Montreal Skateboard Association. The reason why there's a skateboard association is because there was a skater, Yann-Philippe Paré, as far as I understand. He approached his borough, said he wanted a skate park in the Mile End, and the city's like, yeah, sure. And then they offered, for him to get involved and design the park, but they couldn't do that without a nonprofit organization because you need to be a nonprofit to be able to work with the city. So they started a nonprofit, him, Todd, and I don't remember all the members at the beginning. I think it was Jean-Yves.
Shout out to all of you guys.
Charles, obviously. Anyway, there's people who are involved, right? And what's funny is I didn't know that, and I was trying to get something going at the Montreal Skate Plaza. And then that's when I found out that I needed to be a nonprofit organization. So I approached ASM, and that's when I joined the association, and that's how come I'm able to do the things that I'm doing right now with the Montreal Skate Plazas because I'm a part of the nonprofit organization, and without ASM, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing, and that's what I always mean. There's always it's not just me. Do you know what I mean? I'm just I'm a part of a bigger thing, but I definitely put my time in. But so Yann did that. But then there's also other people who do things for skateboarding. People build parks. Do you know what I mean? Hugo Papillon. He has a skateboard park building company. It's Papillon Skate Parks or Skate Park Papillon. And yeah, sure, he's a business, but he's building very quality skateboard parks, and he's building them all over the place in smaller communities and the communities downtown here in Montreal. And yeah, that's huge because he's really improving the conditions for skate parks in Montreal. So he's another person that I have a lot of respect for. There's a lot of people doing things in skateboarding. No, I just happen to be the guy that wound up in the news more often because I kind of got this public figure image because of Peace Park and the legalizing of skateboarding, but there's a lot of people doing things. There's people who, even the skateboard stores, they sponsor a lot of kids and they do a lot of events and it attracts attention. All those things push skateboarding forward, in my opinion.
That's great. Well, congrats for that one. So looking forward to it. When they'll be ready, I'll post a picture. I'll share the picture all over the place.
Yeah, for sure.
Related to this segment exactly. Very nice. Well, here comes our
really? I had another question for you though. It was got to do with marketing.
Oh, go ahead.
Because you said that people because you mentioned that earlier, and I was like, it is all about marketing. But I wanted to see what do you your take on everything with RX and everything and marketing. You have a podcast show.
Yeah, well, all right. The first thing is to see, because I see few things. I see your product,
What's your take?
which is the brand, and then I see the personal branding, which is you.
Okay.
So it's two different entity, and then there's, let's say, the personal branding is nice because there's a lot of accomplishments behind it. So now you have a quality product. So I find that the marketing should be a bit, and that's maybe a parallel to what I'm doing here because I have my personal branding, who I am. People know me like really. I mean, I talk a lot of business, marketing, things like that. But my personal is a bit different too. I work out a lot, trying to do things as best as I can, teach lessons and anything related to business. That's my personal branding. So I find that working on the branding, which is at the same time this takes a lot of effort, by the way. It has you, but then you have your product. Well, one pushes the other. So let's say people will discover RX Bearing first, then they will find you. And vice versa. If they discover you, then there'll be RX Bearing behind it.
True.
So working on both of these, but in a different, two different, let's say, channels. Because David Boots is RX Bearing, but it's not RX Bearing. So this is where I find that your marketing will begin on how I put all my perspective. Depend how in depth you want me to get into, really what kind of marketing to go to.
Yeah, well, you're a marketing expert. I mean, I'll take whatever advice I can get, right?
Well, the second thing that I'm noticing here, if you want to, in order to push both of these, it's the content. All right, I'll tell you a bit really what I've realized. I'm an advertisement guy. I've done, my main thing is lead generation. So I'm familiar with everything that you've mentioned about going knocking at the doors. I've done the knocking at the doors. Yeah. And I've always tried to improve. Let's say, how can I do this? But reverse engineer instead of me knocking at the door. Let people call me. So this is where the marketing ideas came behind. So what can I do? So you need to push yourself out there. It's like the samples at Costco. They'll make you discover some product because they're laying there. They make you taste it. Oh, shit, I like it. Then I buy it. So you're pushing this way. So the content will be pushing you, but you don't want necessarily to be the one knocking at the doors unless it's going to be, let's say, the big investors. These are the people that you want to be knocking at doors. But for your main clientele, you want them to be incoming to you. So this is where the advertisement, I developed my skill towards advertisement to become a lead gen expert because I wanted people to come to me, to ring my doorbell, to my phone, to write to me first. So
it's also a good negotiation position to be in.
Definitely, because you're the one they want something from you.
Exactly, yeah.
And not vice versa. Unless you're a good hustler, you know how to spin the wheel. But this
Ontario
is another
Energy.
Episode. So, all right. So, two things you could do in this. In this internet space, you have the social media, you have the organic, and you have the paid. So, paid is when people don't know you. So, you throw in a few ads, and at a Facebook, any platform, at a Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube level, Google Ads, you want to do some kind of awareness. So just push awareness. And awareness in the web is cheap. So it's not going to cost you a lot to put your face, your brand in people's eyeball. And as you build your awareness, you collect that data. So this is two things I say now is that the data and attention is the equivalent of gold and oil back then. Before internet. Now, the biggest companies, that's what they're able to provide, data and attention. So I find that you need to market, your marketing needs to be around that. So the attention is going to be what I'm pushing, the content. So how do I get content? Now it becomes very difficult because you need someone in the skate park, you need to do this and that.
Need somebody in the streets filming, that's what I
said. Exactly,
yeah.
So you need a team.
The only other option is some people create accounts where they just reshare a lot of stuff, but as a company, was that a brand? What's that?
Andrew Tate. You heard about him?
No.
Exactly. So that's a strategy. Anyway.
Well, some people are successful, but I, as a brand, I don't want to be doing that, you want to be creating original content, not just necessarily content.
Exactly. But in this case, it worked. So.
Oh, yeah? Good for him.
Well, until now.
Oh.
But
I'll look it up.
So the challenge behind the content when I wanted to do content for my clients at the same time is how can you generate that much relevant, authentic content?
Right.
And the podcast was my avenue. It's not going to be the avenue for everyone, but you can somewhat make it your avenue, your channel of content, because you're able to put yourself there. If you have a niche message, people are going to listen to it. If you're able to find the bit of interesting knowledge that people in this fast-paced attention world on social media, it will get consumed. This is what we do with the short clips, the mini clips. And you just push. And after that, like the attention organic game is a patience game and consistency. Mm-hmm. Consistency is the hardest thing you can do.
Yeah.
Because you need to do it repeatedly, always there.
But that's the challenge, is to have consistent and original content and that keeps people's attention. And
the podcast allowed to do that. Podcast, when you look at it on a checklist, it checks a lot of freaking boxes. Authentic, check. Consistent, check. Quality, I mean, check. Channels, we have audio, video, blogging. And blogging, I mean that I could take maybe a 1 minute of this clip and make a transcript of it with an AI machine who's going to put it in a text format, publish it. Then once you publish it on your website, put a nice title that fit SEO. Then SEO is going to push organic in research. Then it's going to bring organic traffic to you. Then you're like, oh shit. After a while, you're like, I want our conversation allow us to create so much content in a whole month.
Wow. Sounds like you got it down pat.
And the paid is going where you're going just to push awareness. So my strategy is that try to build as much content as possible as you can organically. You will see it grow. Last quarter, the first quarter of this year, our impression rate was 434,000 impression that all our platform combined of Yellow Seed managed to generate.
Good stuff.
In this, I'm about to redo the media kit. In this period, I'm pretty sure that I'm minimum 20% up 3 months later. I'm willing even to say 50% up in terms of impressions. So my next goal is, you know what, at this rate, at this growth, I will be able to generate maybe next year 1 million impression per month, which start getting interesting. So once you start understanding the gimmick, the analytics behind this, you start to make your marketing decision. So what's 1 million impression in terms of reach? Is going to be, let's say, 10%. So 10% are going to be people that you actually capture their attention. That's what we want. And as you catch up attention, you're building data. So that's what data and attention is the main things.
Too, right? It's not just...
So the reach will convert into engagement. So engagement is going to be a much lower number, which could be another 10%. Mm-hmm. So 10% of 100,000. So you have 10,000 people that have engaged. So from that 10,000 people engaged, then you have your conversion rate, which whoever actually went to click on your button or whatever. So our conversion, or let's say engagement rate is at 6%. If you don't know what it means, in average, people are in the 1 in 3. So at 6%, you're above the average, and it's not bad.
No,
it's
good.
It's fucking it's quite good. Yeah. So this is what the podcast allowed to generate in terms of numbers. So that 6%, now I can put any value to it. I can expect that at 6% rate, I'm going to convert into something. Now I know my numbers. Now I know my math. Now I know my strategy. So now I know how to keep, just doing it over and over.
Yeah. Yeah, well, for sure. The more people that are seeing it, it's a numbers game, right?
I'll give you another one. So now you build your whole organic spectrum of it. Where the paid ads comes in is by using all that data you collected, that's collected by the platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google, all these platforms collect this shit. So what the beauty out of advertising on social media is that you take that data and then you remarket it. You remarket it to people who have only shown engagement to your brand. So for the 90% remaining that got interested, but not enough for them to even give you more attention.
Right.
This is your target market that on the web you're going to push. And now you know how much conversion rate is. So 6%. So let's say if you remarket to people, you're going to be top of mind in people's head, always in their screen. And lastly, that data that you collected correspond to a profile. So these ads machine, what they're able to do is find other similar profile that you have collected, that you have built, that shown engagement, but that have not reached to you yet, and then go get this other market of people that have the same interests of what you do. And now you just managed to reach another audience, cold, but based on a lot of data you collected organically on people that like you already. This is the marketing on how it works today. A lot of shit.
No, I just need to apply that to me. Sounds like I need my own podcast show.
You seem like you need a podcast. It would be interesting, once again, if you... And that's why I'm pushing this, because it makes sense to anyone. And you need to be consistent and patient, too. Because we've been doing this for 2 years. And when people ask me, does Yellow Seat makes money? It makes money. But not really to a point where it's profitable. However, if you look at the space we are,
this is a nice place.
Yellow Seat.
They can't see everything in the back here, but
Yellow Seat has done what it has to do as a channel. So if you see this space, it's good. Working.
Yeah, you should be very happy.
Thank you. So this is my marketing 101 of.
Thank you.
Thank you. So
podcast
David,
show. Sounds like a cool idea.
Let's talk about it.
All right,
let's have another conversation about it. So how can we reach you?
You can find us. You can find us on rxbearings.com. We also have, our Instagram accounts, at rxbearings on Instagram. We have a TikTok. It's at rx_bearings. And you can find Peace Park on peacepark.com. And I suggest if anyone's going to watch the documentary, they need to know that the first 15 minutes are really, really, really raw.
Yes, it is.
That, you got to get past the first 15 minutes, and then you're going to learn a lot about Montreal. There's a lot of history. Talks about a lot of social and urban problems. But to really understand those problems, we show it in the documentary. So a lot of people have a hard time getting through the first 15 minutes. But, if you can, I think people should stomach it because it's worth it.
Well, thank you, David.
Thank you. I had a great time. I hope some people learned some things, and
it definitely will.
It took away some important points about passion.
Well, congrats to yourself, the passion.
Right, thank you.
Pro Skater, Yellow Seat Podcast, guys.